Shalom, shalom, shalom. My name is Michael Sahno, and welcome to another episode of the 12 Cities in Israel podcast. As I said, my name is Michael Sahno, and this is the only positive podcast on the state of Israel where everything we're doing is bringing you the food, the fun, the culture, and the people of Israel. So let me start off by reading you a few messages from some of our wonderful sponsors. Our first is iConnect. iConnect, engagement with Israel that earns you rewards. Earn points and connect with Israel with articles, games, quizzes, polls, and more. So what exactly is iConnect? Well, iConnect is a social gaming platform where you can play, earn points, and receive cool prizes, all for free. Their goal is to help you stay connected with Israel no matter where on the globe you are. So head on over to www.iconnect.co.il. That's www.iconnect.co.il and start playing now. Our next one is from Israel Phones. Israel Phones is the leading provider of communication devices for people traveling to Israel. Israel Phones offers SIM cards, MiFi devices, which are mobile Wi-Fi hotspots, travel products, and serves the connectivity needs of tour groups, synagogues, schools, community missions, study programs, and individuals. Supplying you with international prepaid SIM cards, cell phones, and USB portable modem hotspot rentals. Right now, because of watching this show, Israel Phones will give you a free SIM card, which is a $15 value. If you spend $30 or more on their site, all you have to do to get this deal is to use the coupon code. Are you ready? 12 Cities in Israel. That's the number 12 Cities in Israel. All one word, no spaces when checking out on your next order. For more information on what Israel Phones can do for you and to get this great deal, please visit www.israelphones.com. That is www.israelphones.com. So, for those of you who have been following the podcast, you will notice, especially if you're watching the video version, sorry about that, that I am sitting by myself. So we've had a couple of changes. Bigash is on hiatus right now. She's got a lot of video projects, and she also has, coming up this fall, she's got some, what does she have? She has graduate school, film graduate school. She's going to graduate school at the City College of New York. And she's going to just broaden her quiver of film knowledge. So the best of luck to you, and we expect to see her back here and then. But for all intents and purposes, this is going to be pretty much a one-man show from here on out. But what's interesting about that is, so when I say one-man show, it's the focus and what we're going to be doing on the show is changing. So right now we're on episode 9. Welcome to episode 9. But we're going through a little bit of a metamorphosis into something that I've really, really, really wanted to do. And that is interviews. So we're going to, starting in probably the end of summer, fall, hopefully when it cools off, because right now, today, as we're filming, it's one of the hottest days of the year here in New York. And it's redonkulous. It's really, really out of control. But one of the things that we're going to be doing is I'm going to be putting everything in these cases and wheeling them onto the train and to different places in New York City to speak to different people about Israel, about what their connection is, what their love is for the country, why they why the country is important to them. I'm scratching my nose. Sorry about that. And on that note, as I'm scratching my nose, I think I'm going to take a sip of coffee. So I apologize. I'm addicted to the bean. So I love coffee. And I drink a very specific type of coffee. And it's Cronin? I don't know. It's basically what it is it's a Polish instant coffee that I picked up in Israel. And it's everywhere. Next time I'll probably have what is it? I'll put it on the table, and for those of you who are watching the video version, you'll be able to see it. But I live for coffee. So that's a little interesting note about me, which is an amazing segue that I didn't even intend. So as I said, I'm going to be interviewing people. The first person that you're going to get to know in all of this is me. But before I get into me, I want to talk just 1 second more about what is coming up. And these interviews aren't just going to be done in New York City, because that would not defeat the purpose, but it wouldn't give you the full fleshed out version of what I'm trying to do. So what I'm going to do is in January, through collaboration with the C Executive Suite Hotels, visit them. It's sea-hotels.com. It's an amazing place. And we're going to conduct, 2 or 3 weeks of interviews. We haven't decided exactly how long we're going to be doing this. We're going to be doing 2 to 3 weeks of interviews with different people in Israeli society. And I've already reached out and gotten some talk back from some people. There's some really exciting people that I want to speak to. And this is so crazy. I was able to get in touch with Stav Shafir. And Stav Shafir, she is the youngest member of the Knesset, and she's a fascinating person. She's kind of a firebrand. She's got supporters and detractors, because when you take a stance, when you're brave, you're going to get that. And she's incredibly brave, and I am a incredible proponent of, who isn't actually, but I will always stand up for a strong woman. They're amazing. I grew up with strong women. My mother, my sister, my grandmother, are all incredibly strong women. So I'm just deeply appreciative and willing to support strong women, on all sides, from all backgrounds. Another person that that I'm in the process, speaking of strong women, is, and I don't know if a lot of people will know of this person, but she's really fascinating. Her name is Avital Cohen. And Avital Cohen, if you're Instagram savvy, she is, I guess, an internet model, an Instagram model. But I think that diminishes exactly what she is. So she's someone who overcame an eating disorder to embrace fitness and enhance her self-esteem through, one, fitness, and putting it out there through Instagram. How brave is that? That's incredibly brave. I'm blown away by that. I'm so impressed by this young woman that if everything works out, it's going to be a great episode. So stay tuned for all the stuff that's coming up. We're also going to be talking to other people. I have a friend at a company in Israel called Alpha Music. He runs DJs. So there's this incredible industry due to the marriage rate of Jews in Israel. There's a lot of weddings. So there's a lot of wedding DJs. But these DJs also take it to the clubs. So and they're incredibly talented. And if you go on YouTube, there's a couple that I know of. One of them is DJ. Oh, what's his name? This is embarrassing. Brant. He's the one that I want to interview. Aviel Brant. Aviel Brant is he is the pretty much the face of Alpha Music. Yeah, it's real smart to say you want to interview someone and forget their name. DJ Aviel Brant. And there's another guy named Basti Hansen. He does the Tel Aviv Pride after party videos, which basically what they do is they capture. He captures through video and these amazing drone shots. Basti Hansen captures the mood, the feel, the vibe of each year's Pride Festival. There's another individual that I'm hoping to get, and I've reached out to him. His name is Uriel Yakutiel, and he is freaking fabulous. He is so amazing. He's a how do I describe him? He's a drag queen, but so much more. He's dynamic. He is part of an organization called Arisa, and Arisa does these Mizrahi gay dance parties that are held all over Israel, from Haifa all the way down to Eilat. And they promote all of this through videos that they put out on YouTube that are usually what is it, like lip synced, and just he's amazing. He's fascinating. He's got the best smile and the best eyelashes, and I can't wait to get him at the table and just to sit and talk with him. And he all of these people are amazing. I want to talk to people from entertainment. I want to talk to people from who is it? Entertainment, politics, business. I'd like to get I think it's Avi Katz, who is the head of Kofix. And for those of you who don't know what Kofix is the most amazing place in the world. Everything is 6 shekels. So what that basically means is that's 6. Everything's about $3. So water, sandwiches, slushies, everything. I've done a video. If you go to our YouTube channel, you can see a video that I made as part of our vlog series, which is coming back, by the way. And the next one of that is going to be on travelers' health insurance, which is going to be really interesting. So stay tuned for that. But this video that I did is called Saving Money at Kofix, and you can get a shakshuka sandwich at Kofix, which is, I mean, just the fact that Kofix turned shakshuka into a sandwich means it's the greatest place on the planet. Yeah, so that's what's coming up. We're going to be doing that. We're also going to be doing about a week in Beersheva, where I'm going to interview a couple of people down there. There's a gentleman, Yair, who is the culture minister. I want to get him in front of the microphone. I think he would be fascinating. There is I forgot about this. So I have a friend that I met, and it's because I reached out to her, and her name is Yada, and Yada Shalev, and she is the face, for the most part, of Hebrew Pod 101, which is a channel on YouTube where they teach you Hebrew. And I've developed a really great friendship with her. She's super fun to talk to, and I want to get her in front of the microphone. But as far as being down in Beersheva, there's this gentleman, Yair, who is the culture minister. There's my friend Malka Reisner, who is the international liaison for Beersheva. She's super fun. One of the heads of the OSP, the overseas program at Ben Gurion University. Her name is Lila, and I want to get her in front of the camera. And then one of my closest friends, Neely Kane, who has helped me with so many different aspects of this show, just in doing research and all that. So I want to bring all these to you. But the way we're going to start this is it would be disingenuous. Is that? I don't know that it would be disingenuous, but it would feel right to start all of this off with telling you about me and my journey. And a couple of people have asked and said that they would like to know what brought me on this travel. And I thought I'm going to be honest. I did cover some of this. Yes, absolutely. I did cover some of this, but I'm a dancer. I like to dance, I like to move. And I've danced around my backstory a little bit because what do they say? Podcasting is about honesty, but honesty is scary. Okay. The truth, Jack Nicholson, you can't handle the truth. Well, it's not so much that other people can't handle the truth. It's that we ourselves, when looking in the mirror, find it difficult to handle the truth. So what I'm going to attempt to do today is give you guys my truth, give you guys my story, my journey. So let me take a nice sip of coffee and get myself worked up for this. Oh, man. All right, it's the best. So where do I start? Well, all right. So how did I wind up focusing on Israel? How did Israel become so important to me? Is it because I'm Jewish? Yes, absolutely. But my Jewishness, my soft Jewish center, is I say an interesting story. It may not be an interesting story. So I was not always observant. I wear a kippah. For those of you who aren't watching this and have never watched it, I'm an observant Jew. And what that means is that, in a nutshell, it means that I eat kosher, I pray when I'm supposed to pray, and I observe the holidays. That's a nutshell version. That's so simplistic. There's a lot more to it. It goes into my beliefs and stuff like that, but we'll touch on that probably. I'm going to say that's safe. Yeah. So I did not always identify as Jewish. Okay. My family history has a lot of holes in it. It is the super duper Swiss cheese, and I'm not talking the Lorraine Swiss, which has little tiny holes. I'm talking it's almost like half a block of Swiss cheese. So there's that much missing from it. So there have always been these little tiny clues as to who I was. I have always been a very spiritual individual. I've always believed in a higher power. It's always been an important part of my life. But I've never committed. Does that make sense? And everyone in my family has always treated religion like a raincoat. You only wear a raincoat when you need it. That's it. That's the bottom line. You only wear a raincoat when you need it. So religion for my family, and my family identified as what? Oh, well, all right. So my grandmother married my the gentleman who was not my birth grandfather, Charlie Dickerson. He was an entertainer that worked the circuit in the Southwest, like Reno, and a little bit in Vegas, and he was a comedian. So he was Episcopalian. So therefore, my grandmother, I think, became Episcopalian. Or just, it's weird. And this is why it would be easy to sit there and say, well, if your grandfather was Episcopalian, then your grandmother was probably Episcopalian. And if she went, but here's the nutty part. So after my grandmother passed, a couple of years went by. My mother brings me she calls me out of the blue. That's right. She called me. And she says, I got this really weird prayer card with your grandmother's things. And I said, okay. Shoot, what is it? You were such a wonderful I'm paraphrasing. You were such a wonderful person, and we will especially miss your Passover Seders. What? Holy cow. All right, so that's a big, huh? What? You know what I mean? So for some people, that would be a big smash in their identity. But for me, it was, here we go again. Basically, that's what it was. So I also, this was about 2 years ago, maybe. My mother brought some things over of my grandmother's. One of them was, what was it? It was a Hamsa that said Jerusalem on it. Are you kidding me? Come on. I'm getting a lot of clues here. What else? There have been these little trickles of Jewishness throughout my family history. Here's an interesting one. This one is actually I don't know if proud is the right way to describe it, but it provides a connection. So my great-grandfather, great-granddaddy Kunzman, who was from Germany, and my great-grandmother, who was from France in the Alsace-Lorraine, which, by the way, I found out later was an area of Europe that had a large Jewish population in Western Europe, and specifically a large Jewish population centered there because I don't know why. I mean, I don't know why. I could say it's because it's remote, because it's contested. I don't know. I mean, it could be anything. I actually should look into that and find out more about that. But my family's from there. So being Jewish and being from the Alsace-Lorraine is not out of the question. So the reason I'm bringing that up is because my great-grandfather, when he came to the United States, borrowed money from my great-great-aunt who lived in Paris. And at the time that he did this was at the same time as the Dreyfus Affair. For those of you who don't know what the Dreyfus Affair was, it was the moment when Theodore Herzl, Captain Dreyfus, was this guy who was accused of treason. So he was summarily kicked out of the military and put on trial. And their reasoning, I'm just putting it in a nutshell again. Their reasoning for trying him was because he was Jewish. So, appalled at this, Theodore Herzl, started his movement towards Zionism and all of that. And at this time, my great-grandfather was getting money to move to the United States. Again, circumstantial, could be nothing, could just be that he was situationally needed to move. You know what I mean? Not because of anything bad, just because, well, I mean, not anything criminal, but just that he was done and he had to go. So there's a lot of these little circumstantial, odd things to my family history. And because of this, it has created a lot of questions for myself growing up. And when I went and I looked up the last name Kunzman. Kunzman has both. You know, let's be honest. There are Christian Kunzmans, but there are also Jewish Kunzmans. There's a journalist here in the United States who's a Kunzman, and he's Jewish. So I could land either way. As you know, who knows? So I haven't had a DNA test, and I don't know why. I just never got around to it. But I went and I spoke to a rabbi about this because I have had a calling, let's say, to Israel for a large chunk of my life. A large portion of my life has been spent enamored, in awe, and just wanting to be a part of Israel, just appreciating it, loving it. Some of this goes back to my military. You know, I was in the military for 10 years. Some of this goes back to that. Who knows? But there was always something larger looming in my life, and that larger thing was my spirituality and Israel. And I knew the two were very important to me. So very early on, I started exploring this Judaism, this interest in Israel and in being a part of it. And my thought was, if I wanted to be a part of it, I should probably put up or shut up and convert. When I was living in Jersey City, this was a long, long time ago, I was pushed away from it. You know what I mean? Just abject, what do you call it? Rejection. So it was upsetting. But a number of years later, wound up having, I hit the screen. A number of years later, wound up speaking to another rabbi. And this rabbi, the other rabbi, the first rabbi didn't want to hear my story. And I don't know why. I don't fault him for it. He just didn't want to be a part. He didn't, maybe we didn't click. Maybe we didn't connect. I don't know. Who knows? But this, and I went through a number of years of just coasting along spiritually. And never really trying to make it a part of my life. So then, after I got out of the military, I wound up speaking to another rabbi. Wonderful man, wonderful man up in Poughkeepsie, New York. And, I told him my story. I told him my little chunks of data that were missing in my family history. And he said the most interesting thing. He said, honestly, sounds like you're Jewish. And I said, what? Huh? What the? That's so weird. What do you mean? I mean, I could see it, but I also could not. How could you see it from me just sitting with you for, 45 minutes? And he said, because I've heard this story a million times before. People moved to the United States from Europe, and their Jewishness was not something that was in any way, shape, or form appreciated. Anti-Semitism was rampant during the first couple of immigrations to America, and being Jewish set you back. It set you behind the eight ball. And you were just, it wasn't uncommon for people to distance themselves from their Jewishness. So he was very supportive. But since I had married a Catholic, he would not convert me. So I was a little upset by that. Because you can't pick who you love, right? You can't pick who you love, but I need to pause for a moment on that note and give you a couple of words from our sponsors. Sorry, dear. Our first one is Neviot flavored water. Neviot at its best taste. Neviot delivers you a true combination of health and pleasure based on Neviot natural mineral water, one of a kind in Israel. It's enhanced with 5 B group vitamins. It's naturally sweetened. It is low in calories, only 35 to 40 calories per 8 fluid ounces. There are no preservatives, no color additives. It is available in delicious, indulging flavors. Apple, which I have, peach and grape. My son loves it. And if you're in Israel, you should be drinking Neviot. For more information, check out their website at www.neviotglobal.com/en/home. That's www.neviotglobal.com/en/home. Neviot is heaven in a bottle. So if you want it, you should go to Makolet Online, which is our next sponsor. Makolet Online's main goal is to make Israeli groceries and Judaic products affordable and available to everyone in the USA and Canada. Their online store carries items that are unavailable in most places in North America. Things like tahini, Israeli chocolates, frozen borekas, and the Neviot water that we are drinking here today at Makolet Online. You will find your favorite Israeli goods or simply enjoy brand new flavors. All of their products are kosher, and most are manufactured in Israel. If you want the tastes of Israel delivered to your home, visit www.makoletonline.com. That's www.makoletonline.com and order today. For an added bonus, if you use the code 12 Cities in Israel, again, a code 12 Cities in Israel, the number 12 Cities in Israel, all one word, no spaces, you will receive 15% off of your entire purchase. So again, visit Makolet Online and order today. I almost spilled my coffee. Holy cow. So, all right. So I married a Catholic. Sue me. Big, fat, hairy deal. She's awesome. She gave me a beautiful son. And because of this, the rabbi that I spoke to wouldn't perform a conversion, because this is how he put it. He said, for all intents and purposes, you're a Jew. In Hitler's Germany, you would be a Jew. But you don't have the paperwork. What I mean by that is a ketubah, which is a marriage certificate. So I was kind of crushed because I felt Jewish. I lived a Jewish life. I was not a Christian. I was not a Muslim by any means. I believed in the Jewish God. I believed in the Torah, and I believed in the patriarchs and the matriarchs and their their foundational importance was a part of my life. So here I am. I'm talking to a rabbi, and this was a modern Orthodox rabbi. So I found it really, really difficult. I couldn't understand what was going on. I couldn't understand this rejection again. And I was upset because now he's telling me, for all intents and purposes, you're Jewish. You're just too far removed familially from observant Jews and the tiny observance of a ketubah, because there are tons of Jews who are secular, who don't do anything, even on Passover, who do have a Jewish wedding and they have a ketubah, so they're more Jewish than me. All right, hey, whatever, But I still felt empty because I felt Jewish, but not. You know what I mean? And I didn't know how to rectify it. So let me have a sip of coffee. For those of you watching for those of you listening, you're probably going, man, this guy drinks a lot of coffee. For those of you who are watching, are probably going, man, this guy drinks a lot of coffee. But, so at some point over time, this is kind of a funny story. So, after I got out of the military, I got hurt, and I don't want to talk about that. What I do want to talk about is through the just awesome turn of events, was able to give my son, I was able to be a stay-at-home parent. My wife has a wonderful job. She's a producer for television commercials. So she makes a good living, so I was afforded the opportunity to come home and take care of our son as he grew. And one day she came into my office and said, he can walk home on his own now. And I said, well, that's great. Cool. She left in a huff, but I didn't know. I was oblivious. I think I was playing a video game or something. She comes back in. Your son is now capable of walking home by himself. I'm like, okay, all right, I get it. Cool. Yeah, I'm really proud of him. She left again. She came back the third time, angrily yelling the same thing, and that I need to get out of the house and do something. So she again left the room, and now, fully motivated by an angry spouse, I went and applied to the City College of New York, and was specifically drawn there. One, I wanted to go to City College because I have always wanted to graduate from that college. It's a wonderful school. It's an amazing school. It's an Ivy League quality school in the CUNY system. The quality of education that you get there is the same as you could get at Columbia, NYU, or anywhere. And a simple hint, a lot of those professors work in CUNY schools to supplement their paycheck because they're not tenured yet. And they have an amazing Jewish studies program. So I'm there, decide to get more into, my Jewish roots, which are becoming more and more obvious as the years and days go by. I wind up speaking to the head of Hillel because, yes, I joined Hillel. And funny story about that. So this is how the universe works. Randomly, I'm there, and I think I'm in the what's the part where you go the not initiation, but the beginning part where they sit you down and they tell you orientation. And this girl comes up to me just out of the blue, and asks me about Hillel. I'm not even observant at this point. I'm not wearing a kippah. I'm not doing anything. She comes up and says, hey, do you know about Hillel and where it is and where I can find it? And I was like, out of all the people on the planet, you asked me randomly. I didn't say this to her, but that's what I'm thinking. And so I've always been getting these nudges towards Judaism. And at the time, I didn't even know what Hillel was. So I wound up finding out what it was. I went to one of the gatherings that Hillel has, and I met an amazing, amazing man who is a friend to this day, Rafi Cohen. Rabbi Rafi Cohen is a conservative rabbi. And I told him my story. And then I point blank asked him, I said, would you convert me? He said, absolutely. Like that. Boom. Greatest man on the planet. So wonderful. One of the greatest men, because he's just, he is awesome. And we went down this road, and me using my Jewish studies education, use that to study and become more immersed in my Judaism, became more observant, and wound up going to Israel as part of my program to enhance my my modern Hebrew chops, because I really love it. Hebrew is one of the most beautiful languages on the planet. It's musical. And was able to become fully Jewish. But still, ironically, I felt a little bit outside. I know, right? You can't be happy with anything, can I? So, I couldn't understand it. I was like, still, I'm Jewish, yes, but I still feel a little bit outside. So, I wound up going to Israel. I wound up meeting this gentleman named Moti Biton, who became my brother, in essence. He's a Moroccan Jew. His family made Aliyah from Morocco. His parents made Aliyah from Morocco. And I became a part of his family. So this is another weird Swiss cheese holes in my family thing. So my father, my dad, Mike Sahno, okay, through a simple twist of fate, my mother divorced my father and remarried a man named Michael, the same name as her son, Michael. So my birth name is not Michael Sahno. My birth name is Michael Verver. Now, interestingly enough, my family is Spanish on my father's side. So I'm 50% Spanish. My father's family, this is from my mother, specifically always told my mom, Laura Sahno, that we were Spanish from Mexico. My mom always thought that was kind of weird. So why not just say you're Mexican? And they would respond, because we're Spanish from Mexico. So Verver is a derivative of another Spanish last name, Berber. The Berbers are from Morocco. So it's thought, another weird twist of fate. I'm in a pizza place and I meet this Spanish couple. And I said, wow, holy cow, I'm actually Spanish. And they said, really, what's your last name? I said, well, my last name's Sahno, but my mother remarried a gentleman named Sahno, and I was adopted by him. So my last name, though, is Verver or Berber. And she goes, oh, you're Jewish? And I was like, I was blown away. I was totally blown away. Another random, like, bomb of Jewish knowledge. I don't know. That's probably the dumbest way to describe it, but that's what I just did. So there are very, very, very strong inklings on my father's side that I'm a Spanish Jew, most likely Moroccan. So I was telling Moti about this, who is Moroccan, and he said, you're Sephardi. And he accepts it, boom, point blank, that's it. So I basically identify as a Sephardic Jew. My minhagim, or my traditions, because I made a deal. It's weird. I made a deal with him that his minhagim would be mine. And he said, absolutely. You're a part of my family now. That was like the most beautiful thing. So on paper now, I have a document that says and attests that I am a convert. I was hesitant to tell you, the public, that I was. And I've had this conversation with people before, and this is interesting because I've said that it comes up, Jewishness and Jewish history in your family comes up in just about every conversation that you have with someone about being Jewish. So inevitably, because I believe that it's important to just be honest, inevitably the question of my Jewishness comes up in terms of, so where's your family from? What do they do? What country were they from? And I say, well, there's I'm a convert. And they go, ooh, almost as if I'm a wolf in sheep's clothing, which on its face is a little bit offensive, but understandable in the grand scheme of Jewish history. So they don't take so Ruth from the Torah, or from the Tanakh, is where you go, I go, where you lay, I lay, where you die, I will die, or along those lines. Again, I'm paraphrasing. Should you paraphrase that? I don't know. They don't appreciate that as much as it was in the story. So they take a step back, but then once I've given them a summarized version of this 48-minute story of my background and my life, they immediately go, oh, you're Jewish. Yeah, I get it. You don't have the paperwork. So I'm reassured. I guess I could get a DNA test. That would be interesting. Either way, I guess it would be interesting. But yeah, so that's basically my story. That is where I come from. That's who I am. And that's what drove my what do you call it? That's what my drive towards Israel. That's where it's rooted in, and it's in my personal Jewish journey. Apparently, though, that mine is minor in terms of ambiguity and having to convert. For those of you who don't know, there are a number of Israel's been really kind of wonky about, and that's saying it nicely, wonky about people's Jewishness in making Aliyah. So Russian Jews came in the 1980s. The Soviet Union released a number of them, and the rabbinate didn't accept them. A large number of them as Jews. The same goes for the Ethiopians during their migrations. The two operations that brought them here, or to Israel, they were pushed back, pushed away by the rabbinate, and told that they weren't Jewish. or Jewish enough. And then there are a number of parties in Israel who say that the different denominations is not the right word. The different flavors of Judaism that exists in the West are not truly Jewish, and that they even go so far as to say as Reconstructionists and Reform aren't Jews at all, and that conservatives and modern Orthodox are Jews, but they've just kind of lost their way. But either way, I have paperwork for myself as a conservative Jew. But I've become, because of what I see as my family history and my acceptance by the Sephardic community, I see myself as a Sephardic Jew, a Spanish and Moroccan Jew. So it's weird. It's weird. It's weird. I'm a mutt in so many different ways, and I'm terrified that I've told everyone about this because this is so personal. But I think it's important. Wow. I got mad butterflies right now. I can't believe that. So on that note, I think what I'm going to do is I am going to wind it down. I'm going to tell you about, and let me do that by telling you about a couple of wonderful organizations. One, thank you if you're still listening to this episode. Thank you for listening to my story. And if you accept me, thank you for accepting me. If you don't, tough. It's who I am. You know what I mean? And so let me tell you about these two wonderful organizations. The first one is Ale. Ale helps children with complex disabilities receive state-of-the-art medical, educational, and rehabilitative care in Ale's 4 facilities. In addition, Ale provides thousands of outpatient treatments annually. Without Ale, many of these children would be forced to spend their lives in hospitals with no opportunities for rehabilitation, education, and the love and warmth of a home. Please visit www.aleh.org. That's www.aleh.org and see if there is a way that you can help. First, what you should do is go to their Instagram page, hit them up, like them, follow them. They are wonderful. The pictures that they put out will just warm your heart. Next, I'd like to tell you about Schneider Children's Medical Center of Israel, which is the only comprehensive tertiary care hospital of its kind in the country and in the Middle East, offering the full range of pediatric disciplines under one roof to all children from 0 to 18. Since its establishment in 1991, Schneider Children's has revolutionized the practice of pediatric medicine in the country and has been recognized as one of the leading pediatric institutions in the world. To see what you can do for them, please visit www.schneider.org.il/ENG. That's www.schneider.org.il/ENG. I try to give to them about once a month. I love them. I think it's important. They're angels. They are the best. And in helping them, we become the best. So please give them what you can. I want to, if you guys want to help with this show, please feel free to go to our website and hit the PayPal button. I fund all of this myself. And the interviews that I told you about, going to Israel in January, paying for the executive suites, paying for all of this equipment, which is all top-notch broadcasting and video equipment. It all comes out of my pocket. So anything you can do to help us do this. And we also want to go back and film our full half-hour 12 Cities in Israel travel show, and we have a budget. I think our budget's around $50,000, and that covers airfare, all kinds of stuff, transportation, all the things that you need to pay for when you are in another country filming a television show. It's a lot. So anything you can do to help. We're only asking for $2, so please feel free to go to our website, www.12citiesinisrael, and give us $2. All right. Thank you so much for joining us for the 12 Cities in Israel podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to our feed and become a part of the 12 Cities in Israel community. You can find the podcast on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Spotify. And we'll be bringing you a brand new podcast every week. So keep your eyes out for that. Also, to help support this podcast, you can visit our Patreon page and become a regular donor. You can find that page at www.patreon.com/12 cities in Israel. And that's with the number 12 cities in Israel. Also, please, excuse me. Also, please visit our YouTube channel where you can see a video version of this podcast plus other videos that we've produced, including our full-length travel episode on the city of Beersheba in southern Israel. While you're there, share it and subscribe. Check us out at our website, www.12citiesinisrael.com, on our Facebook page and on Instagram, where every day we post a brand new picture from our Israel travels. All right, that is it. Toda rabah. להתראות ויאללה ביי.
אמא אמא עם כל רגש אהבה מי לא יבין ומכל פילי עולם על כל אלה מה יפים שקט גם שלווה חיפשתי ומרגוע בך מצאתי אמי אמי אנא חבקיני גם שלווה חיפשתי